So Kirby, what about you? How are you going to remember 2020?
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Thank you, Charles Dickens.
It was.
Happy New Year 2021. 2020 is behind us, and that's right. You're getting the first podcast of the year, the Promo UPFront Podcast. Other people may wait to drop their podcast next week, 2 weeks. Honestly, we don't care here at Promo UPFront. No, that's right. Kirby and I are dropping episode number 26 on you on this New Year's Day. We wishing you a happy New Year. I'm Bill Petrie, one of your hosts for this fine broadcast. With me, as always, the newly crowned king of New Year's Day, the one and only Kirby Hasseman. Kirby, happy New Year. How the hell are you?
Oh man, happy New Year to you. I am doing fantastic. I just hearing that it's a happy New Year, hearing that it's 2021. It just feels good. I think I mentioned last week I had a deliverable that it was deliverable for 2021, and I got chills. It feels really, really good. So happy New Year to you.
Well, thank you. You know, none of us are so silly to think that you turn the calendar page and things are automatically different. But I think we're all looking forward to better days ahead as we enter the new year. And you know what else I look forward to on a daily basis, Kirby?
What's that, Bill?
That's pulling out my cellular portable Google machine and opening up the Promo Pulse app so I can get the pulse of the promotional products industry. See what I did there? Kirby's showing it on his cell phone right now. That's right, Promo Pulse. That one-stop app for the entire promotional products industry, as Kirby ignores me while I read this wonderful ad. You know, it's convenient. It's got the search, save, and share function where you can share content from the entire industry. There's Kirby showing it off right now. It's the entire industry in one spot. Not half of it, not 3/4 of it, not 12/16 of it, the entire industry. It's got the place for ideas, inspiration, information, and it's free to use. You can go to your local app store. They're probably closed today, but when they reopen on January 2nd, you can go to your local app store. It's probably a couple miles away. Drive over there, go ahead and download the app. Actually, you don't have to drive anywhere because it's all electronic. It's open 24/7. See, if you weren't paying attention, you're probably going to get in your car tomorrow and drive to your local app store. No, you can do it right there on your phone. Go to your Google Play Store, your App Store on your Apple iPhone, and download the Promo Pulse app. It's an Alexa-enabled app. So if you have an Alexa device, you could set up the Alexa or the Promo Pulse skill on there, which is great.
Super cool.
Yeah, super cool. Alexa, play my podcast. It's got the weekend pulse check, and that's the new thing I love, Kirby, where I get my weekend pulse check every Sunday, showing me what other people are looking at, helping me kind of navigate through all the content and supplier specials in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that it is challenging sometimes when you talk about the idea that everything in the industry is in there. And sometimes when everything is there, it's hard to keep track. But when you get that weekend check, you kind of know what's hot, what's trending, what you should be in the know about.
It is a great app. Seriously, if you haven't downloaded it, go ahead and do that. Promo Pulse, you won't be sorry you did. Thank you, Jason Oaks, Promo Pulse, for sponsoring this fine broadcast. Now, Kirby, as we enter the new year, I have the honor of the first Promo UPFront topic of 2021.
Love it.
Are you prepared?
I'm not.
Good. You're not supposed to be. You're not.
That's right.
So this is kind of a weird one. So, much like last week, we kind of reviewed 2020. We're going to do a quick promo up front, and then we're going to kind of look forward to 2021 and some predictions and have a little fun along the way as well. But what I wanted to bring up was the second stimulus package and how it affects small businesses, just briefly.
Okay.
So that's my promo front topic. So it's got individual payments. Right now it's $600. There's some talk about increasing it to $2,000 a person. Here's what it has: the extended unemployment benefits. So it's $300 a week for 11 weeks. $285 billion for additional loans to small businesses under the payroll protection plan.
Mm-hmm.
Much stricter terms this time, so hopefully some people who shouldn't have gotten it at first round won't get it in round two.
Right.
Funding for vaccines and nursing homes, ban on surprise medical bills, rental protections against evictions for another month, so people cannot be evicted before January 31st, people who have missed rent payments due to the pandemic. Food security, which is food stamps, expanded by 15% for 6 months. Help for childcare, and then of course they have to tack on a little bit of pork to this thing, don't they? It's never all about just the stimulus package. $7 billion for expanding access to high-speed internet and support for climate measures. So I always think it's funny to see what they throw on there. But what do you think the second round is going to mean for our industry? And that's why it is a Promo UPFront topic. What do you think that the second round is going to actually, how is it going to help our industry, or will it help the industry?
Yeah. I think ultimately when there's a cash infusion into the economy, generally it's good. I do struggle with the idea that you get a check, everybody gets a check.
Yeah.
I say all that. But if the check comes to my house, I'll happily cash it. But,
Sure.
I felt like the initial piece was very important. And I think that there are still some small businesses that are struggling. I don't know how you discern though. And that's the part that I struggle with, because it's like, we're doing okay. And the idea that wealth is never promised. And so okay is okay. And so you're sending folks more money. There are some that I think it does make a ton of sense for, so I don't want to be insensitive to that,
Sure.
but I'm not sure it makes sense for everybody, but I don't know where you draw the line. So this is one that I'm kind of conflicted on.
Yeah, I am too. And this is, I don't think either one of us, I will speak for here. We want to get political about this. It just happens to be run by the government. So there's a political aspect to
Sure.
it. It's trying to get that influx of cash into the economy. While you balance that out with getting that cash to the right people and getting that help to the right people. And I don't know how you do that. I find it shameful on both parties, extraordinarily shameful that it's taken this long to get another round of stimulus. They could have really had meaningful negotiations before the election, but nobody wanted to do that. They could have meaningful negotiations and really try to hammer out, okay, how do we really target this to the sectors of the economy that really need this the most? And it feels very rushed. My understanding is we're recording this on Wednesday, the 30th, and the bill got signed into law, Sunday night. And apparently people may already have their stimulus checks. And it's just, not that that's wrong. That's the law. They're going to do it. But man, it's so rushed. Yeah. And it feels like we're just throwing more money at the problem, and I'm not sure we're throwing it at all the right places. I hope we are, but I don't know that we are.
Yeah, like I say, I guess the part that I do think is funny is that those who are against government spending, let's just say the folks who are more conservative in their leanings, and some of them are my friends, so I'm not like calling anybody out, but it's one of those where it's like, no government spending. We need to be, and then the moment there's where's my money?
Yeah.
Like, wow, that's funny. You're cashing that check right away.
Yeah. I just hope that I just really hope that the payroll protection stuff, the loans for small businesses, really go to the people who need it, maybe who missed out on the first round for whatever reason. I know you took advantage of it.
Sure
it
did.
was helpful to your business. So
huge. Yeah.
So
and again, if it works the way that in other people's businesses, in the interest of transparency, I don't know that I will apply for that again, because it did what it was supposed to do. One of the things that I've said is I hoarded cash. I didn't lay anybody off. And when that came through, I immediately was able to pay vendors. I got caught up, and it did what it was supposed to do. If it does that for other businesses, the way it did it for me,
that's great. Well, and that's the thing. I'm not sure the second round is meant for you.
Right.
I don't know that it's not. I don't know that the fact if you've gotten a first round of payroll protection, if you're even eligible. I have no idea. I haven't delved that deeply into it because I get tired every time I start reading a bill. They're 400 pages, but and that's wonderful that it did good things for you and your employees. It did what it was supposed to do. The big joke is always, hi, I'm from the government, I'm here to help. They actually did help you in that moment. And I think a lot of people too. And so hopefully it's going the right direction. And this hopefully will have to be can be the last round of this.
Exactly.
So, all right. Cool, I just thought that was an interesting one. All right. So now, Kirby, normally I'd bounce it to you. Why don't you tell us what we're going to do? I'm going to bounce it to you.
Oh, okay. So I love that you're going to bounce it to me, because I'm going to say, so remember last week on the podcast where I talked about how it was really nice that Bill did a lot of my homework for me. So Bill did a lot of my homework for me again this week, and it was really great. I got an email with essentially what we're going to talk about. That is not how we normally do things, but this was great. So based on the notes that Bill gave me, what we're going to do now is we're going to look ahead to 2021. And so I guess I will ask you, and then we'll kind of go back and forth. So how will you remember 2020?
Yeah, so I thought it'd be cool to kind of close the books on 2020. We'll get to that in a second. So, in transparency, I just kind of laid out, here are things I think we should talk about, and Kirby added a couple things, we tweaked a few things and all that, but we don't know each other's answers, just as per normal for the podcast. So, how I'm going to remember 2020, it was definitely a year of transition for me. I think I look back on everything that happened starting around March 11th. And I still always come back to, and I wrote a lot about this in the spring and summer, that crisis really reveals character. And I'll remember how a lot of people handled, and in some cases mishandled, the pandemic, and how businesses were affected. So I will remember that. I'll remember it's a year of trial, frustration, and confusion all the way around. Many trials, but it was also, on the positive note, Kirby, it was a year of absolute creativity. The way people kind of created experiences without getting on a plane, shaking hands, hugging, and all that. I'm still astounded by that and very energized by that. And the last thing I remember 2020 is, for me personally, how I think finally, after years of kind of, I don't want to say muddling along, I certainly wasn't, but I really think for the first time, I've really taken complete 100% grasp of my professional future. And so to me, I will look back with fondness on 2020. I'm not going to remember the bad stuff. I'll as you know, I can bring anything to Van Halen. When Sammy Hagar left Van Halen, he said the last year was brutal, but I'm not going to let that ruin the 10 years, the good years that it was. And so, there was a bumpy ride for parts of it, but I'm not going to remember 2020 as this horrible, negative, awful, screw it year. There's parts of it I don't want to remember, but that's okay. And I think it's a year of growth. So Kirby, what about you? How are you going to remember 2020?
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Thank you, Charles Dickens.
It was a dichotomy. Like I think that was literally the word that popped into my head when I saw this. There are things about it that were just terrible. Like I miss travel. I miss outdoor events. I miss people. I mean, in the interest of transparency, but on the other side, and I feel bad for so many people who are affected. I talk about my daughter Skylar. The entire industry went away, and so that
it may never come back the way it was.
Right. So it was
the cruise industry is what we're referring to, everybody.
Yeah. Well, the cruise industry and the entertainment industry. That's the thing. I mean, there's no pivoting. You know what I mean? But then it was the best of times. I mean, I got to spend more time with my daughters that I just simply would not have had. They would not have been here. And that was great. And then on the other side, it's the same with business. You've seen businesses that have completely tanked and struggled, and that's been tragic. But man, I swear, I was just talking to somebody about this today. There are so many businesses out there that can't seem to keep up either. And so it's how people have navigated that is how I will remember it, is that certain people went, okay, I'm just going to hunker down. And some people are like, hey, this is where we're at. What can we do with it? And so that's what I remember.
Definitely lower lows than I think I've ever experienced on a consistent basis. Definitely higher highs though, too. It's definitely been that real roller coaster of a year. All right, Kirby. So the next topic, how will you truly close the books on 2020? So how do you close the books?
So I want you to clarify the question for me, if you don't mind. So do you mean that, like, what, as I close the books, what are the sales like? Or how do I turn the page?
How do you turn the page and say, okay, moving on? We can stop blaming 2020 for everything right now. I think maybe that's one of the things I'm most excited for. Frankly.
Yeah.
So how do you just say, kind of deep breath? Okay, let's move on. We know there's going to be a hangover effect from 2020. It doesn't change on January 1st. How do you close the books? How do you move on?
Honestly, for me, I think that we undervalue the amount that our internal sort of mental decision-making process plays into our happiness. And so I have never been, I mean, like, I actually have historically gotten annoyed when people are like, oh, I can't wait for 2018 because 2017 sucked. I hate that, because I'm like, dude, it's you regardless. I think this year's different. I really do. I think because it has been so heavy for so long, for so many, that the symbolic changing of the calendar. No, the virus doesn't go away. No, this doesn't happen. But we truly do have an opportunity to go, okay, we're resetting the year. We're going to reset our habits. We're going to reset our vision. To me, that is how I truly close. I think it's going to be really easy for me because I'm looking forward and going, okay. And I heard somebody say this, and I can't remember who or I'd attribute it, but they said the one thing that's really good is we won't be surprised. In March of 2020, we were surprised about, like, we're walking in with our eyes open to go, okay, so hopefully in the next 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is, we'll be able to get back to some physical thing. To me, it's like, I enter the year with hope.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not one to dwell either. And I think you hit on something perfect. You know, a lot of the people, and I'm the same way, when someone says, oh man, I'm so glad this year's over, next year's gonna be so much better. It's like, that's a very individualistic look at things. Whereas 2020 was a global event where it sucked for everybody on some level. Right.
Right. Exactly.
So I do think, you know, there is some real cleansing of the year on January 1st. This year that never really existed before. And so I really like that. You know, I think the way I'm going to close the books is take some of the lessons I learned in 2020, really take them to heart and apply them in 2021 to grow. And so, you know, like I said, I'm not one to dwell either, but I have a lot of hope, and I think we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. So
okay, so we'll keep moving. We're about 15 minutes in. So SKUCon, PPAI Expo, PK Mixer, all virtual. How will that look and feel?
Okay, so I wrote down it's going to be different, but different doesn't mean bad. Sure. Different doesn't mean bad. And I think sometimes those two words are unfortunately linked together. So SKUCon, commonsku's already proven that they understand the virtual platform. So I think that's going to be really interesting.
I'm actually excited about that.
I'm excited about that. PPAI Expo, very mixed results from the Sage shows from what I've heard. And I know, and that's not blaming Sage. It's just, I think you have a lot of people. I don't love the idea of the virtual trade show in a big thing. I think the targeted EME style events make a lot of sense to me, like what Soapbox is doing, make a hell of a lot more sense to me and the suppliers, quite frankly. So I don't know how it's going to work. Just people milling about. I mean, that's what a giant trade show is, people milling about. So I'm going to be very curious to see how that goes. And then
I think I think it's going to be a struggle.
Yeah, I think it's. I think it's going to be an enormous.
I'm hopeful, but I think it's going to be a struggle.
I have a feeling there's going to be a significant dropout rate in terms of people attending the actual PPAI virtual or PPAI direct to you, whatever it's called. Yep. And then the Promo Corner Mixer. I don't know. I have no doubt that it's going to be something creative, because that is a group of enormously creative people. Full transparency, you and I are former chefs in Promo Kitchen. And we know everybody who's in Promo Kitchen now, and they're going to do a great job. I just don't know what that's going to be. I have no clue.
If anybody can make it interesting and fun, they will.
Yeah, no question.
It's actually been a potential topic for the last 2 or 3 weeks of this podcast. I was going to bring it up because I'm like, I don't know how they're going to do it. If anybody can do it and do it well, it'll be them. But that's going to be interesting to see, because that's a unique event in real life.
Absolutely,
like in 3D, you know. So it's going to be tough to recreate.
Absolutely. All right. Anything you want to add, or should we move on?
Nope. Let's move.
All right. So I identified March 11th of 2020 as year. That's the year. That's when everything started last year. Yep. That's when the NBA season was suspended. So 1 year. So March 11th, 2021, what will life look like? What's going to be the same? What's going to be different? 1 year after the pandemic really kind of rocked all our lives.
Yeah, this is the one that I think I struggled the most with on this list. I am this summer, and I think you and I talked about it, so you can either back me up or maybe you don't remember, but I said this summer, I think the end of March is when we start to get back to some semblance of normal. Right. So a year from that, I think we're starting to get back to, but we're not there, right? So I think what's the same? Not much, not yet. But I think the light at the end of the tunnel is getting larger, and it's not a train, is where I'm at.
I had the same thing. I said nothing will be the same. And the sooner we accept that, the better the future will be.
Yeah, that's right.
Nothing will be the same.
Yeah. But on the other side, you know, and what's different, everything then would be the answer. But what I would say is I think we're going to like the vaccine. We're already like, it's so weird to me that I, in Coshocton, know people who have already got the vaccine. That's so exciting to me.
Yeah, that's great.
And so I think that within a couple months, the more people who are immunized, I'm pretty optimistic from the potential of March, April, May, we start to see something.
Very funny. So when I wrote down on my notes for what's different, I wrote, we'll all be hunkered down a bit waiting for the vaccine. Still, I do believe that. Optimism will return as people are vaccinated. And live events will be put on the calendar with little to no fear of cancellation.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's good. That's good.
All right. Your turn.
Okay. So
of course, we balance this perfectly. This is always your topic. Fire away, Kirby.
Yeah, no. And I'm actually excited because this gave me pause about sort of how I'm doing it. So goals for 2021, how did you formulate them? What you had kind of written down here, and I love is short, 1 to 3 months. Medium, 4 to 12 months, and long-term, 1 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Let's say you.
So you and I approach goals very, very differently. And that's okay. We both goal-oriented people, but we do it differently. So I really try to apply a little bit of strategic foresight and balance when I do a goal, I want to balance hope versus reality. And that's how I always approach goals. So short-term goals, 1 to 3 months. Definitely control cash flow. We're a new business, so cash flow is always a challenge. I'm staying away, just so you know, from financial goals in terms of want to sell X, this, that. That's not something I really care to share. But I do want to add 2 more clients, and I want to create 1 new piece of content in the first 3 months of the year. Medium, I want to add 4 clients, but 1 of them out of the industry. So from April to the end of the year, I want to add 4 more clients. But 1 of them out of the industry. I want to develop a couple of additional services. Hopefully we're at a point where we can hire an actual graphic designer. Kelsey and I share those responsibilities now. We're pretty good at it. I'd love to have a dedicated graphic designer. And then long-term, the 1 to 3 year goals, continue to develop services. I would love to get to a point where I had an actual office again, very, very candidly. I really miss going somewhere. And then this is kind of a pie in the sky, but I always have a pie in the sky goal for a long-term goal. I want Brand of 8 to become the name for marketing, branding in the promotional products industry and beyond. I really want us to be that go-to organization for that. When people think I need branding help, I need marketing help, I need strategy help, they come to us.
I like that.
What about you?
So it's interesting. I took the question differently than you did.
Of course.
I'm happy to share specific goals if you want me to. But as it was written, it said, "How did you formulate them?" And it was short 1 to 3, medium 4 to 12, long 1 to 3. And the answer I would give you is I did almost all short.
Yeah.
I did what is called 12-week year goals. And so literally I have them written over here on my wall, but they're all first quarter goals. And I did no medium goals because I'm like, again, I think I want to focus almost exclusively on things I can control for the next 3 months. And so literally when I talk about a fitness goal, it is to go 150 miles and this many push-ups. It is like, talk about like not like necessarily big pie in the sky. It's I'm going to keep myself accountable for the first 3 months. And I focused heavily on those sort of things in those first 3 months. I did nothing in 4 to 12 months because talk to me in 3 months and we'll see what it's like in March. Then I'll start making more long-term play. I'm excited that I'm thinking 3 months down the road. 3 months ago, I was thinking a week in advance.
No, and I get that. And I think you make a very good point because I think I've said, making medium or short-term goals or medium and long-term goals right now are stupid. And obviously I've completely changed that. Not stupid, but difficult at best.
But it's exciting that we're thinking differently even this much into it. And so the long-term thing, I actually did do. I do spend time long-term because I'm like, what's the vision that keeps me doing the push-ups?
Right.
And so I loved what you said. One of my sort of visions, it's a long-term goal, is to become the premier marketing and media company in Ohio. That is the sort of the lighthouse. And then, there's some talk about me looking into different pieces in the business, but then in starting a new business. So those are all things that are more long-term goals. I still think they make sense, but it was like, I'm either short or long. I'm nowhere in the middle.
The medium-term goals, the 4 to 12 month goals, absolutely are the most fluid. And they're the ones you might have to throw right out the window. And so I'm never married to medium or long-term goals because the short-term goals will really dictate what the medium and long-term goals are. No, so that changes. Love it. Okay, last thing, and then we're going to go to the game. Before we do, Kirby, you know what I love?
What's that, Bill?
Promotional products. Do you have something on your desk you'd like to share with us?
I do. Actually, so I had the pleasure of talking to Lance Steyer, who is one of the lead people at Chocolate Inn, Lanco, and it's leaving me right now. But anyway, they actually sent me this amazing package it's promotional products done right. And I think it's promotional products done right, really for the foreseeable future, in the sense that we're reaching directly into people's homes. And this is an entire box. It's labeled on both the front and the back. And it's a gourmet baking kit. So you can actually find this on the Lanco site and probably the Chocolate Inn site as well. But it even comes with all the ingredients and a recipe card.
Yeah.
So that you can actually utilize the products in here to make something. And I think you're reaching people. It actually says good mood food inside. So whenever you're giving that kind of food, it makes people feel good, but now you're creating an experience around a product. I love that.
Love that. And I love the fact that, again, it's, people, if you're not packaging things properly, you're not kitting them properly, you are missing so many opportunities right now to create those human connections that really promotional products does so well, especially where we're at right now. All right. So before we get into the game, Kirby, I wrote some crystal ball questions for you. Some are fun, some are not.
Yep.
I'm going to start with the industry ones. Okay. And then, so the industry ones, what industry supplier will be acquired in 2021, Kirby?
So just to be clear, I hate these questions.
I know you do. Why do you think I put it on there?
Yeah. Okay. So the way we always do this sort of thing is like who pops into our head. Yep. And I actually struggled with this because it feels like everybody's been acquired.
Yep.
But the one that popped into my head, and please don't hurt me or send me hate messages, but Adam at T-Shirt Tycoon, don't yell at me, but I think T-Shirt Tycoon would be an interesting acquisition by the right partner. I think they have an incredible, interesting business piece. And so that's where I was.
Good answer. I went with iClick. Because they have a real attractive lineup of mobile products with pop socket and really focus on that. And I think they'd add some value to a lot of places. They also have private ownership. So that's a big deal too. Okay, Kirby, what industry distributor will be acquired in 2021? Again, I know you hate the question. You don't have to tell us. We know you hate the question.
But mainly because I don't know that I have my finger on the pulse of other distributors very well. So
this is not like one of my games where there's a trap here, because we're just guessing, just like we're all guessing. We've always said we're going to have conversations that people are having in private. People are having these conversations in private. Who do you think?
Brand Fuel.
Wow, I don't see that ever happen.
I don't either, but I know they're individually owned, and I literally don't know other distributors.
I went with Vernon, just because the passing of Bill Vernon, and I think they have an attractive client base and all that, attractive size. I could see a company like Halo making a run at them.
Okay, that's way better. Danny, sorry.
All right, Kirby, now let's get some fun stuff. Who wins the college football national championship?
Easiest question here. OSU.
No, wrong. Alabama over Clemson, 47-28, and yet another yawner because the college football playoffs is broken, which is why 6-foot team gets in there in the first place. Kirby, who wins the Super Bowl?
Cleveland Browns.
No, wrong again. Buffalo Bills over the Green Bay Packers in a squeak-off, 34-31. When will fans in mass, meaning a full stadium, I want to qualify that. I sent it to you. Yeah. When will fans be allowed to pack a sports stadium, Kirby?
Yeah, because it just says when will it be allowed, and I was going to be like, they already are.
I mean, so full, no worries about social distancing. When will they be allowed in?
I'm going fall football season.
Okay, I went right around either the NBA playoffs, which is a little earlier than you, or the Major League Baseball All-Star game.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I was just thinking, when does a season start where they could like almost implement new protocols from the beginning? And I could see college football or the NFL doing that.
The reason I said that is the Major League Baseball season has that natural break at the All-Star game.
Yeah, it does.
And I could see the NBA playoffs. All right. when will be the first large scale live in-person industry event? Not a regional show like what you've done at Oprah.
Yeah.
Large scale in-person live event in the promotional products industry.
The only reason I'm hesitating is I don't really fully know what's been canceled moving forward. Right. And so I think that we could start to look at it with, and again, fully happening, but still having some precautions, hand sanitizer, whatever. I'd say summer.
Okay. Yeah, I went with WLC, Women's Leadership Conference, which is in summer, or NALC, the North American Leadership Conference, which is generally in August. I went around the same time.
Which are not like expo or
no.
What I mean?
But we're gonna have to start slowly. We're gonna have to start slowly. Last one before we get to the game, Kirby. When will you be able to travel without wearing a face mask?
Honestly, I think that I'm comfortable traveling.
Yes.
I struggle to picture when I'm going to do it without a face mask again. Yeah. It's one of those things I can't unknow. Yeah. And so honestly, I wrote 2023.
Okay. So I wrote, wow. I went Thanksgiving of 2021. I think my guess is you're gonna have to prove that you've been vaccinated.
That's true. That might be.
And again,
but literally when you said that, I'm like, oh, next time I get on a plane, I'm still wearing it. Like,
no, I meant when I'm not, I guess I should have clarified. When will you not be dictated by the airlines that you have to wear a mask?
Oh, okay. I think you're probably right then. I would say the end of this year.
All right, Kirby, we're at the time of this podcast where we're going to have a little fun and then wrap this sucker up so I can go lay on a couch somewhere.
I love it. So this is a little simpler. Like I got creative last time. It wore me out. So we're going to do word association. So we want to do the first thing that pops into your head. If you want to explain it, explain it. If you don't. But I'm going to start with, and I love that you already brought this up because I think I know how you feel, but ready? Working from home is
tedious. I can't, my head's constantly on a swivel. I got the dog. I've got, with the Nashville bombing last on Christmas Day, internet's been a little spotty. So there's always distractions. I'm good at avoiding distractions, but when the distractions come to me, that's challenging. So I'm tedious is the word, Kirby.
Yeah, that's a good one. And in the interest of transparency, I think we both struggle. Like I have a home office. I don't enjoy being there unless I have to. And so I'm with you. All right. Pumpkin spice latte is
disgusting. Pumpkin really has no flavor. So really all you people are drinking is spice. So you're basically drinking a bunch of cloves, cinnamon, and some sort of potpourri. So disgusting.
2021 will be
whatever you choose it to be. I choose it to be amazing. I'm sorry. I like you. I definitely subscribe. My swim coach used to just say PMA all the way, positive mental attitude, PMA all the way. And I just believe that it'll be whatever I want it to be. And I choose to be an amazing year. Is it going to have some ups and downs? Of course, it's going to be an amazing year though.
I like it. The promotional products professionals group on Facebook is
tedious. No, you know what? I'll say lazy. Man, lazy is the word. And I'll say lazy because I see people who don't use the search function and then they're asking for a specific pen. I think it's a lazy place where people complain without actually trying to solve problems. I think it's lazy because people respond to those people and try to start fights. So lazy overall.
I like it. A trip to the beach today on January 1st sounds
delightful.
It's delightful. I'm with you on that one. The restaurant you missed the most in 2020.
Merchants in downtown Nashville. They it's a great steakhouse, but they have a great bar, a proper bar, and they serve tater tots fried in duck fat, and you get 3 dipping sauces, and one of them is smoked ketchup, and it is amazing.
So you're looking forward to checking that out.
Yeah,
that's cool. Okay, 2 more. Amazon entering the custom t-shirt game means
it was actually going to be my Promo UPFront topic this week, and I tried not to. It's just what Amazon does. They're dipping their toe in the water They don't care if they lose money. They're seeing what the viability of it is. So it's a threat, but it's, just because they're innovating doesn't mean it's going to ruin your business.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay. Final one.
Last one.
The week between Christmas and New Year's is
lost week, and that's the way it should be. I've been doing some work, but I think it's definitely a time to recharge with your family, although we're all surrounded by each other. But take a little time. I mean, as soon as I'm done here, we're gonna go take down Christmas stuff. Hey, there's my dog. We're gonna take down Christmas stuff and watch some football games. I have one last question for you, though, if I may ask you.
Yeah, sure.
Who wins the Orange Bowl, the Texas A&M Aggies or the North Carolina Tar Heels?
Oh, Texas A&M all day.
Yeah, Danny and I have a bet on that, actually. So
yeah, no, I'm not anti A&M like you're anti OSU. I want people to be happy and do well, so.
You can sit on your high horse of awesomeness all you want. We all hate Ohio State, but something we don't hate, Kirby?
What's that, Bill?
Our good pal Jason Noakes and his wonderful app Promo Pulse. It's that one-stop app for the entire promotional products industry. You can get every bit of stuff you want to learn about the promotional products industry. You can get content, you can get supplier specials, and you can really get your pulse on the industry. So go ahead and download that app right now. There's an Alexa-enabled skill as well. So Promo Pulse, you won't be sorry you did. Kirby, thank you for having the courage to broadcast on January 1st. You look great for having a hangover. So I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Go Bucks.